having emotions. It's automatic. Like, you can't stop the fact that you feel angry.
Right.
Yeah.
If something was done to you that's hurtful, you can't stop happiness necessarily. Like, it just happens. If something good happens, like, it's automatic. You feel happy.
Right. Or if, somebody like a dog suddenly starts barking at you, you automatically feel fear. Welcome to Trauma Recovery Out Loud, where we talk about where we've been, where we are, and where we're going in our trauma recovery journeys. Join us and get some insights and encouragement to keep going and keep growing. Let's go.
Okay, we are live. Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello. We're so friendly.
Yes. Welcome to the Trauma Recovery Out Loud podcast. I'm Stephanie Dunham.
I'm Evelyn Mason.
I'm Richelle Knapp.
Yeah, Richelle, you're very quiet. You need to pull your volume up. We thought we worked all this out.
Should I turn the mic up or my
the mic?
Okay. All right. I'm at 10 o'clock. Let me know.
That's good right there.
That's good.
Okay. All right.
Too loud.
Now too loud. Okay.
Just go back up a smidge.
Okay.
We try so hard to work out these technical issues before we hit record, but for whatever reason, we're always like fixing.
We really do try.
And we're also just transparent about it instead of acting like, professionals, I guess.
Am I okay though, volume wise now?
Yeah, a little loud, but it's okay. I think it'll work out later.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Welcome. Ignore all that.
That never happened. Woo, woo.
What's with the woo woo woo?
I don't know. Twilight Zone, maybe.
I'm taking off my glasses now. I have a new light.
Yay.
All right.
It makes me look a little more like you guys. A little less pale. A little brighter.
A little brighter.
Yes.
Yeah. And so tonight we're continuing our series on what people with trauma or trauma survivors really need from the church.
Yes.
This is number 3. Recap time. Recap alert.
Recap.
First episode we did was our testimonies, our individual journeys in not necessarily, to some degree I had some idea I had trauma, but it really wasn't that present in my mind that was a thing for like 25 years of my walk. I kept looking for help, but wasn't getting it. Richelle and Evelyn have their own stories, so I encourage you to go back and listen to that. And then last recording we did was on Twisted Interpretations of the New Creation, where we talked about how people seem to have some ideas according to their upbringing, their specific theology or denomination or whatever, that brings about this idea that we are supposed to be wholly new in Christ, so we don't need anything further than just the cross or Jesus or whatever people say.
Right.
Yeah.
So we talked about that. And this week we are going to talk about no negative emotions ever.
Yes.
And that is a big one. I encountered that a lot. It sounds like you guys have too.
Oh, yes.
Oh, quite a bit. Yep.
Yeah. So, and so I guess we should define our terms. What exactly do we mean by no negative emotions ever? What are we saying? What's the problem we're defining?
I'm not sure how to.
So maybe we need to define negative emotions first.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do that.
Excessive. I would say there's a certain tolerance for a certain level, but like very sad, depressed, fearful, anxious, angry.
Yeah, grief.
Oh yes, grief.
Yeah, so just what people would consider negative emotions or things that make you feel worse.
Yes.
Like a response to trauma, like a death or an injury or an illness or bad news or getting fired or getting into arguments with your spouse or your family. All those can create these sort of emotions and feelings that just sort of bring you down.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which I think we could generously say are normal things
For
to
sure.
have in response to negative things that are happening.
Right.
Mhm.
It's appropriate.
Yeah. So if, you unexpectedly get fired from your job, like you didn't see it coming and they're firing you for a reason that doesn't make sense, of course you're going to feel angry. Of course you're going to feel hurt or sad or frustrated. Of course you are.
Right.
Like, why wouldn't you? It's weird to not feel that in those circumstances, in my opinion.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
So those are the sorts of things we're talking about. Of course, people want more happiness, joy, elation,
Mhm.
good feelings, or what we would call positive feelings. Those we don't have to worry about those necessarily as being
Yeah.
a part, as being a problem.
Yeah.
Right.
So we want more
Yeah.
of that, right?
That's
Yeah,
true.
maybe naturally.
I wonder if, like, I don't want to jump ahead. Never mind. I'm already feeling myself doing the jumping ahead thing.
Ready to hop.
Bun Sean's trying to jump ahead as the rabbit she is.
Good restraint, though.
Yeah,
But
good restraint.
Yeah, I have encountered this quite a bit in my time with the churches. And I've seen it with other people, like not just for myself, but people who are struggling with something.
Yeah.
Or had a recent event where they lost a family member unexpected. Well, I mean, most deaths aren't expected, or even if they're expected, they're still difficult.
Right.
And it seems like there's this cultural stigma in the church that you can only go. I think Evelyn kind of touched on this. You can only go so far with your emotions, but you can't go any further.
Yes.
They can't be seemingly out of control.
Or even just, what I encountered was don't have them at all.
Wow.
Don't be angry. Don't be offended. Don't be anxious. Don't be fearful.
Yeah.
Don't be sad. Ever.
I remember talking with somebody, and she's a fellow believer. And I thought, given her personal experiences and things, she would get, like, we were talking about grieving and how difficult it is. And she was like, well, you just got to get to the point where you get over it. And I'm like, huh?
Get over it?
Yeah, like there comes a point where you just sort of move on. And I'm thinking, yeah, but the way it ended up starting this whole discussion that kind of went into you need to feel good, or you know what I mean, like almost like an unhealthy direction, which made the whole thing kind of weird.
There's some expectation that there's going to be an end to grief, and there's not.
Yeah,
really.
We were talking specifically about the loss of a child.
So I don't think anybody can ever get over that.
And
not totally, no.
I was really surprised at how the conversation went, to be honest, because she had never lost one. I said, well, do you know anybody who's lost a child? And, she just couldn't seem to get the idea that it could be something you carry for the rest of your life.
Right.
I don't have children, but if I did and I lost a child, I couldn't even imagine that.
Yeah,
experiencing that.
It's an almost unbearable grief, and you may, in a sense, move on where you're not like constantly crying or chronically depressed.
Right.
You may be able to get on with your life, but you don't ever stop feeling sad or like you're missing something, or it doesn't really, it may lessen to a degree, but I don't think it ever really goes away.
Yeah. So I think the problem is the idea that it's okay to feel bad for a while and then there should be like a certain endpoint.
Right. And but also in some circles like the one I was in, don't feel negative things ever. Like I've been told more than once not to be offended by
Oh
something.
yeah, I've heard that too.
That seems to be a big one in the church.
Yeah.
Because I've heard it too. Don't be offended, and I didn't even know what that meant. Like I would feel, and I don't get offended easily, but
If there's
there
no
are,
yeah, if you can't be offended, there's no use for forgiveness.
yeah, like I don't a lot of things I can like overlook or let go of, but there are certain things I can't. And
Right.
why wouldn't I feel what I feel? Why wouldn't I experience those emotions? It makes me a little bit angry because it's like the shame that comes with that is so unnecessary, and it makes things more difficult for those of us who have trauma.
Right.
Adds to our shame that we're already carrying, we're already trying to overcome or manage.
Right.
And it's really tough to understand that. And I didn't know this at the time. People who are saying these things to me don't know any better.
Right.
They were trying to be helpful, but they didn't know what they were doing was actually, what they were saying was actually harmful.
Right. Yeah, it's like this instilled belief. I think it's a misinterpretation of some things. Like, I personally believe if we're not supposed to have these emotions, why would God put them there?
Right.
Right.
Why would I mean, babies out of the womb feel things
Yeah.
right off the bat. They have emotions. They probably have emotions in the womb, right? So the only way they can express it is by crying at first, anyway. Eventually, they can express other things like happiness by smiling and whatever. But I don't know if you've ever had a newborn baby who's just screaming their head off. It's not just a response to something, it's also a feeling
Yeah.
that they're having. So that tells me if that those things come with being a human, and if God created us that way, then we're supposed to feel the huge range of emotions that humans have.
Right. And even I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's all right.
Okay. I remember you were talking about newborn babies. My first baby, of course, clueless. I'm trying to figure out, what to do. And she would cry and cry and cry. And I would start to get upset. I just wanted her to stop. And I remember at one point, somebody wise, it may have even been my ex-husband who did get a few things right. He said, you need to figure out why she's crying.
Yeah. Right.
Instead of just make the crying stop. She's upset, make it stop. It was more, okay, diaper wet? Is she hungry? Does her tummy hurt? Does she need to be burped? What's actually going on so we could, tend to that. And I remember learning the cries as well and what each one meant. But the idea wasn't, I have to make the baby happy necessarily. It was more, I need to take care of the need that she is trying her best to communicate with me.
Right.
Right. I mean, I've been hearing this lately on the interwebs. It's your job as the mother and to some degree the father to emotionally regulate the child.
Yeah.
Right. I think to some extent we all emotionally regulate or help each other emotionally regulate because we're having emotions. It's automatic. Like you can't stop the fact that you feel angry.
Right.
Yeah.
If something was done to you that's hurtful, you can't stop happiness necessarily. Like it just happens. If something good happens, like it's automatic. You feel happy. Right.
Or if, somebody like a dog suddenly starts barking at you, you automatically feel fear.
Right.
It all
makes sense. Yeah. Well, I meant like if they're suddenly lunging, barking at you or something, that would be scary.
Right.
But yeah, so it's appropriate to feel certain ways depending on the circumstance. And when did we lose sight of that? And when did the church lose sight of that?
Well, that's a really good question. And I think, and this is my unscientific layperson's perspective, the emotions are there to motivate us to do something.
Yeah.
Like if you feel sudden fear about something, that means you should pay attention to whatever it is you're fearful of and take action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you feel angry at a hurt or injustice, you should right that wrong, whatever that means.
Mm-hmm.
If you do something that makes you feel happy, you should do it again.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't become an addiction. So let's not do that.
Yeah.
But
healthy.
Yeah, let's not go that way.
Things. Like if you feel really good after exercising,
Yeah. Right. So the question is, Evelyn made a very good question. When did, or why even, did this idea in the church start? So how does this, first of all, let's talk about how this manifests, because we've mentioned that, we've been responded to with, don't be fearful, don't be anxious, don't be,
you shouldn't be this or you shouldn't be that. Yeah.
Right. Because there are scriptures that say things like, cast your fears upon the Lord.
Right.
There are scriptures that say, do not be anxious for.
Yeah, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and petition, present your requests to God. Yeah.
Right.
I memorized that in part of dealing with your anxiety at one point.
Right. I mean, that those scriptures are there for sure. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not weird to know that the Bible says that. Right. But for some reason, this has turned into never feel anxious about anything ever.
Which is impossible because we're human beings. And especially if you have trauma, you kind of live with anxiety. And part of the process is to figure out how to manage that and not respond with fear and anxiety. But that doesn't mean that you're not going to feel it. And this thing frustrates me so much because this happened to me in more than one church setting. It happened multiple times. I heard so many times, you shouldn't feel this way. You shouldn't, this shouldn't be happening. You should. And it was probably if not the worst part, definitely one of the worst parts for me, because I myself didn't understand what I was experiencing when I was younger.
Right.
I was trying to find that not feeling this way. And I could never accomplish that. And, I look back on it and I wish that people would have tried to understand better. And I don't understand this kind of frantic feeling that comes with, oh no, you shouldn't be that way. I don't understand that.
Well, do you think it's possible that people in general, Christians or otherwise, just don't want to feel anything negative?
I would say probably, because it definitely felt repressive. Like they were repressing me and probably repressing themselves, their own negative emotions, and calling them, oh, I shouldn't feel this, or saying I shouldn't feel this way, telling themselves that and causing themselves harm.
I think what I've experienced is, okay, you feel this way. That's not exactly the problem, but it's like, now let's fix it. So if you keep feeling that way after the fix, now it's a problem. Now you're doing something wrong, or, kind of like we talked about in the previous episode about maybe you don't have enough faith, or, I remember as I was dealing with a extreme amount of anxiety in more than one church setting, there are 365 verses that say, fear not, one for every day of the year. And I'm like, okay, but I can't make it stop.
Yeah.
I try to memorize them, and
and, I mean, here's the problem, as far as I can tell. If you have like emotional problems, and every traumatized person has emotional problems.
Yeah.
Like you can't have cptsd and not have emotional problems. I don't think that's possible.
No.
And emotional problems can look like being shut down. Like I've been someone who's been shut down. Like that's a thing. Also, you can have excessive emotional like expression. Like you can have outbursts, you can not be able to stop ruminating or having catastrophic thoughts. There's lots of things that could be happening at any given moment. And it's not ordinary, ordinary fear. It's not ordinary anxiety. It's not ordinary sadness.
Yeah.
We're in the process of trying to regulate our emotions or feel our emotions, in my case, for example.
Yeah.
Get in touch with our emotions about the past. Like this thing happened to you. You probably should feel angry about that. But at the time it was happening, you weren't allowed to feel anything at all. So in the course of going through therapy, suddenly all this anger comes up. Like that's the part of the process of going through trauma recovery. And when you're in the church and suddenly now you've got all this anxiety coming up and you've got all this fear and you've got all these emotions, just like a turbulent thing inside of you, the ordinary path of, well, fear not, the Lord is with you. Yeah, sure, that's true. I absolutely believe that, but I also cannot turn this off.
Yeah. I think that, I'd mentioned this before about having a problem with excessive emotion. It's like, I was thinking about this today. I have lied so many times. I feel bad about this. One day I realized that somebody asked me how I was doing. Well, my marriage was falling apart. Weird things were happening with my kids, and I was having a horrible day. I was at church. Somebody approached me that I didn't really know them. I knew them on sight, but I don't even know that I knew their name. Hey, how you doing? I'm like, yeah, I'm doing fine. How are you? And I walked away and I thought, I just lied to that lady. Oh my gosh. Because I didn't want things to be weird.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to bother them with my negative emotion, because I've done that sort of thing before, especially with like somebody that I don't really know that well. And I've tried to like share a little and they get this kind of like they wish they hadn't asked, I was just saying, hey, how you doing? Not how are you doing? And now she's dumping her life on me,
I think to some extent, this sort of, you create your own reality, which is agnostic or gnostic in nature. Like I've been listening to Melissa, what's her name? Melissa Doherty a lot about this new thought thing where if you say something, it makes it real, puts it out into reality. So if you're feeling anxiety, you're creating your reality, sort of a thing. Somehow made it into the church and all kinds of places. And I think that might be part of it. I mean, also obey the scriptures. That's another part of it. But if Anne Marie from Mind Joy Counseling is right, how the word anxious is being used in that scripture isn't necessarily how we should understand it in English.
Yeah.
Right. Because remember, we talked last week that we're reading a translation of 2 ancient foreign languages. It doesn't mean that the way it's written in English is 100% correct. It's not incorrect. It's just interpreted. So if a word like anxious in the Greek, for example, is a lot of different ways to be anxious, or a lot of different interpretations of what it means to be anxious, there may be other ways to look at that specific scripture, and it may not mean exactly what we think it means in our modern English interpretations. So we've got I feel like we got a combination of this name it, claim it, Gnostic new thought thing, plus trying to obey scripture, creating this dynamic where, for whatever reason, the church cannot tolerate people who have ongoing battles with emotions. And it's not just even excessive emotions, it's just that they have them and it's ongoing.
Yeah. And I guess that's really the thing, is it isn't just fixed. And it's like they don't know what to do with an ongoing problem.
Right.
And I remember as a kid too, like I grew up with hymns, and hymns are wonderful. There's certain ones, and I have it going through my head right now. This, and I won't sing it, but I'll say some of the lyrics. Is joy unspeakable and full of glory, full of glory, full of glory. Joy unspeakable and full of glory, and the half has never yet been told. Right. And I remember I loved that song when I was little. That's probably why it's still in my head all these years later. It's one of my core, hymns that got in there. Right. But I remember in my 20s thinking, joy unspeakable. I'm miserable. Where is this? Is it in the Bible? Like, where did that come from? Because
I mean, it is in the Bible, but I don't think all of our experience as a Christian only is supposed to be happiness and joy.
Yeah. And I think the problem was it wasn't really talked about. Like, what do you do when you're depressed? I don't remember that being talked about at the pulpit or,
Yeah.
So Richelle was talking about the Psalms earlier before we got started, because David or whoever else wrote, because I don't think David was the only author of Psalms.
Yeah, there are a number of authors.
Yeah, but David specifically, he was being chased and, to be brought to death, basically, by Saul. And he was, and this went on for years. I can't imagine being like happiness, joy,
strumming his harp, la 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 la.
When you're in caves in the middle of the wilderness, hiding out from someone who's trying to kill you. I mean, I can't imagine that he didn't feel some depression or sadness or grief or upset or anger or fear.
Other emotions. Yeah. I was thinking about Paul and all the things he went through, all the suffering he went through after he became a believer. And, he was human. I'm sure he experienced all of these emotions.
Right.
But he chose to, continue on with his work despite what he was experiencing. But he didn't, it doesn't really tell us, but like, here's something that I had an experience with in the church. Not directly in the church, but I did talk to people about it because I was so confused. I had a lot of doubt, not about God, but about other things I didn't understand. And I was consistently told I was sinning because I had doubt. They were calling it unbelief. And it wasn't that I wasn't believing, I just didn't understand. And I was struggling with this idea for a really long time. And then one night I was praying and God said to me in my spirit, he said, your faith and your doubt will always collide with each other, and that's okay.
Right.
And it helped me, understand what people were telling me wasn't necessarily wrong, but they were seeing they were listening to what I was saying, interpreting it the wrong way.
Right.
Because I wasn't saying I had unbelief. I wasn't saying that I didn't believe God. I was saying that I didn't understand, and I had doubts about things, but just because, I was new to it.
Yeah, you said it, a belief, and it feels like some of what I've experienced was feeling anxious or feeling fear or even feeling anger was an expression of doubt or unbelief.
Yeah, that's you
And
put
it
into words
wasn't,
what was in my
yeah.
head.
So it's not just a negative emotion, but now it's
Right.
all the way to sin.
Right.
So now there again, as we talked about
Yeah.
that shame that so many of us trauma survivors experience, that's just heightened even more. Okay, now I'm sinning.
Yeah.
Right.
Now I'm desperately trying to repent of something that God's not even calling sin.
Right.
We talked about David, in the Psalms and everything,
Mhm.
and I mentioned about feeling anxiety, feeling fear, feeling this.
Mm-hmm.
Just it wouldn't go away.
Mm-hmm.
And some years ago, I was reading in the Psalms, and this verse just popped out at me. Where did I put it? There it is. When I am afraid, I put my trust in you, in God whose word I praise. In God I trust and am not afraid. What can mere mortals do to me? And I thought, okay, wow, when I am afraid. Not if even, but when. And then I thought, who said this? David said that.
Right.
And I thought, man after God's own heart. When I'm afraid, I put my trust in you. And I dug a little deeper because that next part could have been sort of could have served as almost like I can't think of the word, something that would say I'm getting it wrong or doing it wrong, where it says, in God I trust and am not afraid. And I thought, okay, in God I trust and am not afraid. It's not that I don't feel afraid. This is where courage comes in. And I'm not giving in to my fear because I'm trusting God. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
so it's okay to feel afraid. It's even okay to, when I am afraid, it's going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be in charge.
Right.
Right.
And that gave me hope instead of I have to get rid of the fear because I couldn't.
Right.
But this said that God would meet me in my fear.
Yeah.
And that I could put my trust in him. And then because I put my trust in him and he was going to give me the strength to get through whatever it was, even if I felt afraid and even if the fear didn't go away.
Yeah,
Right.
because you didn't
like,
make
oh.
you didn't make an idol out of your negative feelings. You chose faith, and I think that's the part a lot of people miss that don't understand what it's like to have complex trauma. Is we can't necessarily get out of it or get rid of it. It's not going to just go away. But I know for myself, learning to reach out in the dark and take God's hand when I don't understand, and which is pretty often for me right now, especially. It's hard to do, but it's necessary. And I think I remember when I was in my 30s, our mother had passed away, our stepbrother had passed away, and I felt like my life kind of exploded with anger. Just I felt free to finally let those emotions out. And gosh, I forgot where I was going with this.
Welcome to your 50s.
I was going to say.
There was a point to that. What was it, Richelle?
It's in there somewhere.
Well, okay. So I will say this. I stopped going to church for that period of time because right after our parents passed away, because I kept getting told things that didn't make sense to me and it made me angry. So I just stopped going because I just couldn't deal with what they were saying to me. Like, almost like, how dare you have emotions about this? And they didn't understand what it meant that my mother had died because of everything that had happened. I had been holding in because she was still alive.
Yeah. And in so many circumstances, it's like anger. People get like, oh, no, you got to calm down. Yeah, Christians aren't supposed to get
instead
like,
of why are you so angry? Calm down.
Yeah, just sit down. Yeah.
And for me, it wasn't just anger; it was repressed rage. Like, it was really intense.
Yeah,
and I just couldn't deal with.
Ran it all the way to the circus.
That's another story for another time. Anyways, so I was very lost during that time, and I did meet my ex-husband during that time, unfortunately, as well. I made a lot of terrible decisions, a lot of terrible mistakes,
including running away to the circus.
including running.
Technically, it was a carnival, but whatever.
Semantics. Anyways, but at that time, well, after I came out of that several years later, and my ex-husband left me, I went back to figure. Once I kind of worked through the emotions about our marriage and all that stuff, I went back to the stuff about our mother, and by that time, it had calmed down and it was under control more.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I was in therapy at that point, and my therapist kept telling me, and I don't know, I can't remember if that one was, I had some that were believers, had some that weren't. I don't think she was, but she's a very good therapist. And she told me it's okay to feel what you're feeling. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be rageful. You're allowed to feel those feelings. The complete opposite message from the church.
Yeah.
You shouldn't feel that way. What's wrong with you? Why do you feel that way? And like, I remember telling someone in a very vulnerable moment, I hate saying this out loud, but the context is important. My mother beat me for 6 years. That's why, at that time, that's why I'm angry.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't know what to do with that. She just walked away from me.
Right.
She literally had no idea how to respond to what I was saying to her.
Right.
And I don't know if it was that time that I left or the time after or shortly thereafter that I stopped going to church. But like, it was just so frustrating. Okay, I'm going to stop now because I'm starting.
Okay. Well, a thought occurred to me, like, there's a couple of points I want to get to before we close this up. But another way that people handle this is they assign any negative emotions to the demonic.
Yes.
Yeah. If you're feeling angry, anxious, upset, fearful, whatever, it's a demon. I have a story about that myself. I was in a dance group in the church, and they had a last minute change to some choreography, and now I was walking backwards towards the edge of the stage, and I was feeling anxious about it because I was worried about falling off, because there was like edge of stage and then like steps. Mm-hmm. And I was worried about, I hadn't practiced it, so I didn't know where the edge was. I was worried about falling down the stairs. And so while we were doing a dress rehearsal right before this program we were in, I wasn't going back far enough for the person who was in charge. And she brought it up. And I tried to say, well, I'm a little bit worried about falling off the edge of the stage. I don't know how to manage it. Mm-hmm. And the whole group came at, she went like this. There's no fear in Christ, like right at my face. And the next thing I know, the whole group's converging on me to pray for me to get rid of this spirit of fear.
Oh my gosh.
I wanted to run away so bad. Like, if I hadn't been committed to seeing through the dance performance we were going to do, I would have left because, or maybe not. I don't know. At that time, I didn't have as much of a backbone as I have now, where I'm willing to say, whatever, goodbye. Mm-hmm. But I don't know what I would have done, but I know that I didn't. And I was really upset. I'm still upset. It's been 10 years. It still frustrates me because instead of hearing me out, instead of hearing and trying to work with me about where I was at, they turned it into a attack of a demon and then tried to deliver me in a 2-minute prayer to help me calm down. I was not calm.
Right.
No. And I didn't feel like I had a choice to even talk about it any further or try to get some help or anything. Mm-hmm. It was just buck up, do it, and that's it. And I don't know how many times I believed any negative emotion I had was a demon, and I had to rebuke it, and I had to get rid of it. And if I wasn't able to get rid of it by rebuking it, then there was something wrong with me. I lacked faith.
Yeah.
Right? And that was a dynamic I lived with for about 25 years.
Yeah, I'm thankful that I don't want to say I figured it out, but maybe God showed me at some point. I don't know. I remember I was going through a lot of negative emotions, and I remember thinking to myself, God's big enough to handle this. He's big enough to handle whatever I'm feeling, whatever I quote unquote throw at him. He's big enough to handle it. I don't have to worry about feeling ashamed for being angry or sad or any of those things. Like,
Right.
I still didn't fully grasp that I had trauma, but I at least knew that I was feeling a lot of emotions that didn't make sense according to what was being taught by the church. But it was like, when I had that realization, it made things a little bit easier, because even if someone did say something to me in that way, I just said, okay, that's fine. That's what you believe. And I wouldn't even go so far as to say if that's what you believe. I'd just say, okay, because I understood that it didn't matter if I felt that way in one sense, because I knew God can handle it. I wanted comfort from other people. I wanted comfort from the church, but I wasn't getting it. I was just getting this, push to be positive all the time.
Right.
Yeah. I was thinking about sort of like a false hope that I got when I heard this teaching that talked about that God hasn't given us a spirit of fear.
Right.
And power and of love and of a sound mind. Right.
Yes.
And so the teaching was essentially, there is a spirit of fear. God hasn't given it to you.
Right.
So it must be of the devil.
Yeah.
So, and I thought, okay, then I just need to cast it out. Right.
Right.
And I remember, I always laugh when I remember this. I'm driving home from work, and I had just had enough of feeling afraid. And I thought, okay, spirit of fear. And I'm in my car, I'm driving, and I'm like, I rebuke you. I mean, I was saying it loud.
Yeah.
I rebuke you. And I kept doing this, right? Because it wasn't going away, and I was feeling worse. And then in my spirit, I sensed the Lord going, stop it. And I was like, what do you want me to do? Because I didn't know what to do. I thought I was doing the right thing. And the scripture that came to mind was, be still and know that I'm God. And I thought, all right, with your help, and I just thought, all right, you're God. Yeah. I don't understand what's going on. I don't know what to do, but you're God. And I'll let you show me what to do.
Yeah. So to me, that means that here's the, I think this is the place where things kind of converge. Like, we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the devil's defeated. We know the devil can tempt us. So what is it he's trying to tempt us to do? Well, for all intents and purposes, Satan's main goal is to get us to despair.
Right. Yeah.
And to fall into sin. Because you fall into sin when you despair, mainly.
That's true.
I think people, unless you're psychopathic, I don't see people going, well, I'm just going to take up this vice just for the heck of it. Yeah. Like, there's the reason why they're doing it. And it's usually despair, hopelessness, fear, any number of things. Now, the devil can come in and tempt you into being despairing and hopeless.
Right.
The difference between, in my opinion, the difference between that and recognizing and allowing yourself to feel emotions that are natural and normal is that you don't become despairing and hopeless if you're feeling fear. You trust that God is in control and that he is going to help you and he is going to be with you and he's not going to leave you in your circumstance to just die in it. Like, he's not going to just leave. There's always hope.
Yes.
There's and so I don't know that I feel as an emotion happy very often. Happiness isn't like a thing that I feel, but I feel joy. And why do I feel joy? Well, I feel joy because I know that God will help me.
Right.
I may get in a car accident tomorrow. and I may be laid up in the hospital for 6 weeks, and I may have to rehab because of broken bones or whatever. I am not going to fall into despair and hopelessness that my life has now changed or my life is over or whatever. I'm not going to fall into that, because even though God didn't cause the accident, He is going to be with me through all of the processes of healing. And when I feel angry, and when I feel frustrated, when I feel hurt, when I feel sad, when I feel upset, offended, He's going to be with me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And help me process those emotions and figure out why I feel that way. And He's going to help me come to a place. I think this is part of sanctification. Learning how to process your emotions so you don't fall into sin or hopelessness and despair.
Yeah. And listening to what you're saying, Steph, I really wonder if there's an assumption collectively in the church that when someone's feeling negative or has a negative emotion, that they are somehow falling into despair automatically. I wonder if that's kind of the idea. They don't see what you're talking about in terms of, yes, I have these emotions, but it doesn't mean I'm despairing. I wonder if that's just an assumption people make, like, oh no, don't do that.
Well, if the Gnostic, new thought thing has any influence over any aspect of the church, then yes, people would probably think that any negative thoughts or emotions are automatically, creating a bad reality for you.
Yeah. And I'm learning the thing you're talking about in terms. I don't think I go to despair. I hope I don't. I certainly do deal with fear and catastrophic thinking, but I don't think I go to despair. But I'm learning to have faith. I'm learning to trust God more. I won't go too far into it. I'm gonna get off track. But I think it's important to realize that I don't know that a lot of people understand that part of it. I think they make that assumption that negative, don't be negative, because they're afraid that you're going to be going into despair. Yeah. I don't know. I'm speculating. Like fear, I really have no idea.
Yeah. Like fear it's going to get worse. So you go try to head it off at the pass kind of thing. I was thinking about something today because I'm dealing with some stuff right now. And I was sitting there at work and I was just feeling just yucky, for lack of a better term, just sort of sad, feeling the weight of things that I know need to change in my life, and just feeling like this is going to be hard. And I was really taking it seriously. Normally, what I would try to do, I start feeling yucky. Let me see if I can watch some funny videos on my phone. I got to feel better. But I sensed the Lord going, no, you should feel bad about this. And the interesting thing about it was I could sense His presence with me. Not that it was comforting, not that I felt better per se, but I didn't feel alone.
Yeah.
And I knew that together He and I were going to work on these things. It wasn't somebody saying, oh, bad girl, you need to fix this. I mean, in a way, they're going, yeah, you need to fix this. But it wasn't like you need to fix it by yourself. And it was more, I was able to take the correction and go, okay, I see it. And I'm not going to try to push away from it because it's making me feel bad.
Right.
Letting that stay there. And then I could sense the Lord meeting me in that place. And to be honest, one of the worst times, two of the two horrible times in my life were when I felt God the closest. I felt horrible, but I sensed His presence.
Yeah.
And there was, the time that I completely lost my mind. It was devastating. I didn't sense Him then at all, except later when He was showing me that He was there the whole time.
Yeah.
When I was laying on the, with my face to the wall, my head was in His lap. He was that close. And I can look back at those times and it's kind of worth the pain.
Yeah.
Because of His nearness. And so I sensed that today when I wanted to push away the negative, but I thought, well, Lord, you'll meet me here just like you have before.
Yeah.
and you're going to help me work it. We're going to work through this together.
Yeah. And I think when Steph was saying about, probably one of the things that frustrate me the most is people talking about emotions being demonic. It took me a long time to understand that emotions aren't good or evil. They're just emotions.
Right.
It's what they get assigned by people that makes them what they be misinterpreted.
Right.
Yeah. I think that's why, I've heard it called bad emotions. And I remember hearing somebody say, don't call them bad. It's not
Right.
good or bad. Feeling
Neutral,
awesome
yeah.
is not good in itself.
Yeah.
The Bible even talks about you should weep with those who weep,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
means you're going to feel bad. Mourn with those who mourn. Rejoice with those who rejoice. It's the whole gamut. And in my notes, the very bottom, I wrote, Jesus felt bad.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
In your anger, this is one I've hung on to for a lot of years, is in your anger, do not sin.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always read that to mean that you're going to feel angry, but you have a choice
Yeah.
to behave righteously and seek justice, or become an awful version of yourself who just throws your anger out over everything and destroys, because anger can be energy to seek justice for yourself or someone else,
Yeah.
or it can be destructive. And it's the destructive anger that's sinful.
Right.
It's not the one seeking justice and righteousness.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if we're talking about something like someone told me that they were, great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Got it.
I'm using the word that everybody uses to describe that. Essayed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Evelyn looked like, what? What? Are we talking about fruit?
I thought you said great.
Great. Graped. Take out the j or g, and you have
Got
a
it.
word.
Yeah.
Well, let's say you find out someone you know that happened to someone you know.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't feel angry about the fact that that happened, there's something wrong with you, in my
Right.
opinion.
Yeah.
Okay. You should feel angry. Now,
Yeah.
your choices are to motivate your friend to go to the hospital, go to the police,
Mm-hmm.
go get, the kits done, get the things done, report it, let the police investigate and hopefully apprehend this person.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can go and try to beat that person up or hunt them down and drag them out to, public, whatever. You can, either one. The first one is the righteous path, in my opinion.
Right.
The second one,
Yeah.
I know a lot of people feel that, but I don't know that's the right thing to do in this circumstance.
Right.
There's a reason why we have a justice system.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, I know I'm
Mhm.
saying this knowing that a lot of people feel like the justice system is broken and people don't get, their day in court and things don't happen well for people who've been essayed or whatever. That's beside my point.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the idea is you don't want it to internalize it in such a way that now you're fantasizing about
Vigilantism.
revenge and and because every action starts with a thought.
Right.
So we have to be careful where our thoughts go,
Yeah. So in the scope of being a person who's in trauma recovery, and every emotion I probably should have felt as a kid that I wasn't allowed to feel for one reason or another are coming up now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to process them.
Right.
And I'm also trying to learn how to be a human and just feel regular emotions. Like, it's just, I don't necessarily know how to do that. And I'm going, I'm upset. Some memories come up. Now I'm upset and I'm going to the church and I'm like, I'm upset. And they're like, well, don't be angry.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, but this thing happened to me. Well, that was in the past.
Oh, I hate that. I hate that so
and I'm
much.
like, but Yeah, and I'm like, so now I feel like, okay, these people are telling me to tamp down my anger, tamp down my feelings, and now it's just sitting in there unprocessed. And I feel like what we need is people to be willing to help us process through our emotions, to sit with us, to talk us through it. You don't have to be therapists to do this. Like, if someone comes to me and they're like, I'm so angry, and I'm like, well, you just need to give it to God. Like, if that's my response, what am I doing?
Right.
I'd rather my response be, why are you so angry? What happened?
Right.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about it?
Do you want to talk about it? I'm certainly happy to hear what you have to say. Like, do you want to talk about it? Do you want to process through it? Do you want me to just sit with you, like, and just let you be angry? Like, that's what I prefer the response to be. And I'm not afraid of their anger. I don't think it's sin. And if they want help in talking through it and figuring out what to do about whatever circumstance brought them to this place, I'm happy to do it. And I feel like that should be normal in the church.
Yeah. This fear that seems to run pretty rampantly about these strong emotions, I don't know. I feel like it's tough to convince people that it's okay, that I'm not in despair. This is just what I'm feeling and what I'm dealing with.
And it's not a demon necessarily.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not necessarily demonic. It's not necessarily, I'm not sinning, which is difficult for people to understand, especially with something strong like rage. I've been feeling rage throughout my life since I was in my 20s. And it's much more under control by the grace of God now. But when I was in my 20s and 30s and 40s, it wasn't so much under control.
Right.
But I repressed it I didn't talk about it when I was in church because, a little, I don't know if this would be an aside or you could include this, but it's kind of funny. It is a little funny because one of the ways I process my rage now is to listen to metal, which I've never done in my life.
So Richelle has a reputation in Circle being the cutest one, the softest one, the little bunny,
the little bun.
And she's listening to metal to process her rage. I love it.
You know what? I got into that when I was going through my divorce. I never. I was goody two shoes. I was a preppy in high school. Thank you very much. I played in the band. I thought rock music, to a certain level was, not good. Oh boy. Yeah. Oh boy. But I think, we need to have a place. I was thinking a lot of recovery groups do a pretty good job with this because there is a point where you're holding the timer. You've got 4 or 5 minutes that you can say whatever's on your heart and no one interrupts. No one tries to fix you. No one tries to say, I can relate. It's just a space. And I know there were times, because I belong to a recovery group, there were times when I couldn't wait to get there because I had stuff that I wanted to say and I could say it there. And, there is a space like afterwards where you can talk to people one-on-one maybe, but it isn't like, you're going to get jumped on, and I was thinking if we could have more of that, in the church where people could say, do you want someone to listen and not interrupt? Like, you take as long as you want. I mean,
that would be fantastic.
Or even just like, even just 5 minutes. I remember there were times when I just felt so much better. And of course, everyone says, thank you for sharing. And usually they mean it. Because they realize this is like a sacred thing. There's something that's inside that needs to come out. And with people who are just supportive, they care.
Yeah. Right. I brought up the whole listening to metal thing because when I was younger, I kind of had the same belief you had about metal music to a degree. I didn't care for it either. Like I didn't relate to it at that time. And now when I listen to the words of these songs, now I have switched to somewhat to Christian rock, but I'm still listening to the other as well. Um, I bring it up because I really wonder, like, I've thought about this. I had to go through a little journey to be comfortable with this idea, but it was helping me express those feelings of anger and rage I've been holding on to for so long. But how would people respond to that if I walked into it? I mean, not that I would do this, but if I walked into a church and announced I was listening to metal music, out of context, they might be a little scared about that. But in context, for healing,
Well, that depends on which metal you're listening to.
That's true.
And who you're talking to, because I've had people go, "Oh, you too?" They're like, we're both surprised at each other.
That's true. I'm definitely making a generalization here. Generalization.
Very good. That's a long word.
I wonder, like, I have thought about that. Like, how would people feel if I told them? So I'm discerning about, like, I'm not going to share this. Well, I'm sharing it on our podcast, but I'm not going to share this with people because the context isn't necessarily clear. But it's helping me get closer to healing.
Well, it's allowing you to feel your feelings.
It's allowing me to feel my feelings
in a safe way.
Yeah, and God pointed out the other day, maybe listen to Christian rock too, to have, because a lot of it is very hopeless, the quote unquote secular rock. So the Christian rock has a uplifting message a lot of the time. Some of it doesn't. Some of it's very dark too, but in a sort of a spiritual way.
You should ask your nephews for some recommendations of Christian metal to listen to.
I did listen to one of them the other day. I didn't care for the style, but I did like the words. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, at any rate, I think what we're saying. Is it
recap time?
Summation time?
Summation
alert!
It's been an hour. Summation alert. I think what we're talking about is there's this propensity in the church of looking at what people tend to call negative emotions or bad emotions as being bad, as signs of hopelessness and despair or disobedience or demonic influence. That's the tendency. Maybe not everywhere in all churches, but there is definitely a tendency inside the church for this sort of thing.
Yeah.
And when people with trauma encounter that, it puts them in a double bind of shame, similar to the other one that we talked about last time. Because you have all these emotions. Maybe you're starting to feel the anger you should have felt when you were, 10 years old and your parent was beating you or whatever. Maybe you're processing through fear about what happened to you.
Right.
Maybe you're really, really sad about how your life went. Those are all normal reactions to things that happen. Right. But when you go to somebody in the church and they come back at you with, "Oh, you shouldn't feel that," that's bad. That means you have no faith. That means a demon's attacking you or possessing you, or any number of things a Christian can say that brings on this secondary shame of I'm bad now. I'm being bad. I need to not feel this way.
Yeah.
And you're speaking scriptures over yourself and you're journaling about it and you're rebuking things and it's just not going away.
Yeah.
Right. Because emotions are signals. They're signals about something that's happening to you. There's an injustice. Anger is normal. Somebody gave you an apple. Happiness is normal. Right? I mean, it's normal to feel things when things are happening to you, and it gives you energy and impetus to do something about whatever it is you're experiencing.
Right.
Yeah.
So the church, I think, can help by being willing to hear someone out about why they're feeling bad and not just assume that it's demonic or sinful or disobedience that's creating this feeling inside this person. Sit with them, while they talk about it.
Yeah.
I think that's also helpful.
Yeah.
Let them process through their emotions if they're coming to the church, because the church really should be a good place for people to sit in their feelings, to
Right.
sit in their emotions. What we're trying not to do is go to hopelessness and despair and sin.
Right.
And if we cannot process our feelings and our emotions, that's what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We will get to hopelessness, despair, and sin.
Yeah.
Anybody does who cannot feel their feelings.
Right.
Who's not allowed to feel their feelings. I mean, even Jesus wept.
Right.
Right.
I've heard a lot of different sermons about why that happened. It doesn't matter. Jesus was feeling a human emotion.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, whatever led to the weeping, whether it was grief, sadness, frustration, anger, whatever it was, it led to weeping. He was feeling human emotions. Why aren't we allowed to?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Boy, I don't think you could have summed that up better. Why aren't we allowed to?
Yeah. I mean, God throughout the Bible.
Yeah, and the
Felt
people who
emotions.
are in trauma recovery need even more of an allowance to feel things and to express it
Yeah.
without condemnation.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty much all I have to say on that. Anything else?
No, I think we
It's
covered it
relevant.
pretty well.
Did I sum it up well enough?
Oh yeah.
So,
All right. So checking on we surprised ourselves on Saturday during our meeting. We had already planned everything we wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
We're like, we need to come up with a new topic. I'm like, wait, we already did it.
we have a list. We just needed to check it twice.
Yeah. So the next thing on our list, potentially that we'll talk about, is an all or nothing approach to psychology, sickness, and mental health. Like, this is a preview alert.
Oh, a new alert.
A new alert.
What are we up to 3 now?
Yeah.
Total.
Sure. Anyway, yeah, so there are good things and bad things about all of this stuff, psychology, illness, mental health. There are good things and bad things. Psychology is not the be all and end all of everything that we need for recovery, but it's also not all bad.
Right.
But a lot of people in the church treat it like it is.
Yeah.
And some say it's downright evil.
Yep.
And as we've talked about, some people think if you can't be a Christian and have mental health issues, or mental illness,
Yes.
they're yeah. Anyway, so we'll get into that next week, or next recording, because we're actually recording twice in 1 week.
Sorry.
It's going to be weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
so
all
sorry.
Richelle's fault and her Wawa schedule.
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
We blame you, Bun Bun.
Okay.
Yeah. So, anyway, yeah. So I think that's all I have. Is there anything else to talk about?
No, I think we covered it pretty well.
It's dance time.
It is.
The disco ball shall drop, the lights shall come on, and the cat shall appear next to us as we're doing this. Right?
Like,
Yes.
Subscribe.
share.
Share. Comment. Wherever. Do all the
Push
things.
all the
Push
buttons.
Do
You
all
know
the
what to
things.
do.
really help
Sweet.
us out.
Help us out. Help us out. Yeah. Also, we have a project going on.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we do. That is true.
I darkened my eyebrows so that I could do this.
Nice.
Just so you could do that.
Just so I could do
Eyebrows in
that.
the house.
Yes, we are working on some things, including updating our website. And can I say what we're working on?
I mean,
Yeah.
it depends. Do you want them to be in suspense or anticipating?
Anticipating,
All
for
right.
sure.
Then tell them.
Okay.
We are working on some devotionals that we've
Yes.
created that are kind of in conjunction with some of the things we're talking about. Downloadable PDFs you can purchase, and they're not ready yet. We're still working on a lot of different things. There's only one that's been created. we need a couple more at least to put on our website. But we're going to be redoing I'm in the process of redoing our website, so it'll be more in tune with where we're at and what we're doing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the PDFs that you can purchase, which will support us if you decide to buy it.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what we're up to. And as usual, share this with people you care about. If this helps you, please share it with someone you think will benefit from what we're saying.
Please do.
Yes.
Yep. All right. Well, I think that's all we have for today. I'm Stephanie Dunham.
I'm Evelyn Mason.
I'm Richelle Knapp.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you got some food for thought and encouragement to keep going and keep growing. See you next time. For more episodes, you can find us on Spotify and YouTube. Comment, like, and subscribe to spread the word and help the channel grow.